to confirm today that it was in fact police who asked you to impose the curfew?
No, I wouldn't confirm that at all. I think there was a discussion. There was a discussion between different parts of government. We've spoke with police, absolutely. Police, I think
Where did the idea first come from?
Well,
Who first proposed it?
Oh, look, I'm not wanting to be anything other than clear, but I can't pinpoint the individual on the day when they said, oh, let's do this. I think there's been an ongoing discussion, right? Just to be as clear as I can be. There's been an ongoing discussion. Every time we make rules, police will give us feedback on how hard or easy they'll be to properly enforce. And you would expect nothing less, that we have that ongoing discussion. Once you limit the number of purposes, the number of reasons that you are allowed to leave home to a very small number, then the easiest thing to do to enforce that, not easy at a personal level or, we've never done it before, but the easiest thing, just if you be completely focused on the kind of operational side of it, the easiest thing to do is to say, okay, well, if you haven't got one of those reasons, you're not allowed out. So at the moment, if you wanted to go exercising, you can't. If you wanted to go shopping, you can't. If you go to work, you can. If you're a permitted worker, you can go and do that. So this is about limiting movement. The health advice says limit movement. Police say they need clear rules to be able to enforce. Curfew delivers both.
It's such a radical step for Victoria.
But a very, very effective one, Laurel, because it has limited movement, and that's what drives down case numbers.
Do you not think Victorians deserve to know where that idea originated from and what the process was?
What I'm saying to you is I can't give you a specific person and the exact moment that they said, let's do this.
You won't tell us?
No, it's because I can't tell you. I don't know exactly which person at what moment said that. But there's ongoing discussions, lots of different people talking, both us as a government, officers, so senior officials, members of Victoria Police. It's no more or less complicated than that.
Did Brett Sutton advise you that you should do it?
It's not a matter for Brett Sutton. That's not a health advice. That is about achieving the health outcome. His advice is do whatever you can to limit movement. Police then say we need rules we can enforce. It needs to be as simple as possible. We can't stop every car, but if everyone who's out that shouldn't be knows that there's a chance they'll get caught and they've got no lawful reason to be outside, that's what a curfew's about, then all of a sudden you will limit movement. So it's consistent with the health advice. These are decisions ultimately made by me. So the answer to the question is, if anyone has got a problem with that, anyone who doesn't think that that has limited movement and driven down cases, well then their argument's with me. Because I've made that decision, because I think it's a challenging one to make, but it's effective and it works. And what it means is, if you wanted to go exercising at midnight, you can't. If you want to go shopping at midnight, you can't. If you're a worker and you're permitted, you can. If you need urgent care, you can get that care. Beyond that, what it means is no one's sneaking out going to their mate's place. No one's going and doing things that they are by law not allowed to do. So it hasn't changed the rules. The rules, that is, the reasons you can leave, they're all the same. It just makes the job of police much, much easier.
But you've said, and I think Brett Sutton said on radio yesterday, that it's a state of disaster provision, but it is also written into the Chief Health Officer directions. Yes.
Yes.
So was Brett Sutton just told that was the way it was going to be? He had
no, I wouldn't read into that. There's a whole lot of interplay between the directions that are made under the Public Health and Wellbeing Act, pursuant to the powers of the state of emergency, pursuant to the powers of the state of disaster. That's quite a complex set of arrangements. But it's all about health advice, limit movement. Righto? Police then say, these are hard rules to enforce. We reckon there's a bunch of people that are out and they shouldn't be out. Give us the clearest, simplest set of rules you can. And a curfew that says, unless you've got a lawful reason to be outside after 8, soon 9 p.m, out to 5 a.m, then you can't be, is much easier for Victoria Police.
So if the rule is in place to stop people going to those little gatherings, sneaking around, does that essentially mean that the rest of Victorians who you say are behaving really well are basically being punished for the behaviour of these smaller numbers of people?
But why are they being? Hang on. Under that, your definition of punishment is not going for a jog at midnight or going to the supermarket at 10 p.m. That may be a burden for some people, and I apologise for that. But the benefit far outweighs, in my judgment, the benefit far outweighs that burden.
The method of stopping a small number of people sneaking around.
Well, that's what
is
rules
for
do,
the-
though. That's what rules do. The vast majority of people do follow the rules, and I thank every single one of them for doing it. Well, we have, I can lay out all the laws of the state, and I'll stretch from one side of the room to the other, and they're usually for the minority of people. They're not for law-abiding citizens, and those who do the right thing. They're for those who don't.
But there's quite a difference between telling people not to gather in more than 10, because that limits your close contacts, people follow
Yes.
those rules, versus making rules that apply to everybody when in fact
Yep.
they're aimed at a very small number of people. How is that fair that everybody in Melbourne is affected by the behaviour of a small number of people?
Because no, hang on. That's with the greatest of respect. That's not the greatest analogy that you could draw. If everybody gathered in groups of 10 in the midst of a second wave with community transmission as wild as it was just a few weeks ago, this will end no time soon. So whether it's directed at a small number of people, whether it's directed at a larger number of people, ultimately everybody benefits by getting these case numbers down, opening up in a safe and steady way, and being able to lock that normal in. That's the absolute key to this.